This is from Lawrence O'Donnell's segment last night on MSNBC in reference to Jeb Bush. Bush lose the primary, win the general. That was the Tuesday, December 2nd, 2014. And it brings up an interesting dilemma there, is that apparently old Jeb Bush that would like to run for president, but realizes that if he's got to run too far to the right in the primary, it almost is self-defeating for him to run in the general, because he'll get loosed. He thinks that that's what he made a jab at Mitt Romney, for that's what he did, that he went too far to the right and he couldn't come back enough to the center in the general election, and that's why he lost, etc. So Jeb's going to do it on his terms. I don't know what those terms mean. He said this in front of a business crowd. The business crowd likes Jeb. He can work with them. He knows how to play their game. He's not like a Rand Paul. He's not like a Ted Cruz. He's completely different. So he has a definite appeal to the money people and to the business people in the Republican Party. But he doesn't advocate for some things that the hardcore right want. He's not a deportation guy. He thinks we should solve this problem with immigration. He's also for Common Core, which the base doesn't like at all. And for those of you who don't know, Common Core is an educational standard that's been worked on for a number of years. It's been worked on both by Democrats and Republicans. It was overwhelmingly, it's not approved by anything, so technically, so to speak. But someone on the right got a hold of it and said socialism, or communism or fascism or something, and that's the end of Common Core, at least the way it thinks. I think the concept of it is that we need to radically and significantly change the way we educate our children. We need to have standardization. Why should we have standardization? Well, because they have in a lot of other countries. A lot of other countries are educating their children much better than we are. We need to have a higher percentage of people graduating, et cetera, et cetera. So just getting back to the Jeb Bush thing, he wants to run it his own way, but how can he do it? Because there are going to be primaries. There are going to be debates, even though Ryan's previous ones to limit the number of the debates because he doesn't want the crazies to come all out. But it doesn't make any difference outside of Jeb, and maybe outside of Mitt Romney. There really aren't any moderates. Everyone else is a lunatic right-wing guy. So how is Jeb Bush going to do it? But I just want to make a specific and very critical point right here in reference to Jeb Bush, is that I don't see him as having any chance of being an elected president of the United States, based on what it is right now. Because number one, he looks like an old guy. He looks old compared to the way Clinton was 46, Bush was 54, Obama was 46 when they ran. He's about 60. He looks like he's old. He meanders around a little bit. He seems introspective. Wants to come up with the right answer. He just doesn't seem presidential at all in any way, shape, or form. He wears the open shirt. It looks a little old, different on an old guy. He needs to lose about 30 pounds. He needs to get some spunk in his step. That's how you become presidential or look presidential. I don't know. That's just my opinion. But and also saying he doesn't know if he's up to the demands. Some of this other kind of stuff. And he's being honest. That's great. He's being honest. Yes, it is. It does take quite a bit to do that. But when you make the decision to run, you got to know that you can do it. You got to feel that you can do it. His brother lied. Thought he knew how to do it. Felt he knew how to do it, but he didn't know how to do dick. But that's what it takes. The discussion also had to do with what Bernie Sanders would bring to the table. Bernie Sanders, again, marginal in the sense that no one knows who he is. He's basically a socialist. He's out of New Hampshire, or New Hampshire, Connecticut. I can't even remember which one. He caucuses with the Democrats. He's up for he's big on a $15 an hour minimum wage. He's up for the Employee Non-Discrimination Act. He's up for immigration reform. He's up for infrastructure. He's up for a lot of stuff. That's good. And the one thing is because he's very adamant, he's very engaged, he's very he's very specific as to what needs to be done to help this country move ahead. That he will, will he bring Hillary too far to the left? That would be another really big concern. But we don't, we'll have to even see if he's fully running and whether or not Hillary's fully running. So we have a lot of stuff that's coming up before the election. Here it is even. It's even a year before the New Hampshire primary or the Iowa caucus, whichever it is, in January or early February. So we got well over a year. We have about 16 players on the on the Republican side, and possibly 3 or 4 on the Democrat: Sanders, Hillary, Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren. Then you can throw in Martin O'Malley, and there might be another Democratic governor back in there. And of course, I've mentioned the number of the Republicans. That there's a Yahoo set, and there's a semi-serious set. So it'd be interesting to see how that goes. It's all coming up. But I do want to bring in the fact that at the end, in another segment in Lawrence, they brought up the poverty issue and brought up how kids in Appalachia they'd knapsack something. The kids go to a food kitchen on Friday after school. That's part of the school curriculum. It seemed they'd be implying that they go there to get a knapsack full of food because that might be the only food that they get to eat all weekend. It's a very, very sad thing. This is an all-white area, obviously. In Appalachia, it's all white. And, there's just that hidden poverty that we've had. It's been around for hundreds of years. You would think that we would know about it more now than before, but obviously not. That it can stay hidden. There's areas in the inner city where we won't go. There's hidden pockets in the suburbs that we don't see. And then there's very, very rural areas that we don't see anything because they're so far apart. So you just can't notice them unless you stop and you look and you find. They had Alice Wagner going to a place in Kentucky. It's very sad. Very sad that up to 40% of the children in the United States need some type of supplemental program for them to have enough to eat. In this stinking country, with all the stuff that we hear on by all of my sisters and brothers on the opposite side, about how you got to pull yourself up on the bootstraps, how you got to make decisions in your life, you got to move on, anybody can get ahead in this world if they want to. All of this happy horse crap that just has never ever been even remotely close to being true. We have this kind of poverty in this country, and the House voted before the election to send all the immigrants back. They didn't put any money to it, but they voted for it. See, so the House voted to cut the food stamp program by billions upon billions of dollars. And they say that this will force people to get jobs when there aren't any jobs out there. And it's unfortunate that this is the way it is. It is the way it is. But I don't think any Republican that's out there, Jeb Bush included, really wants to address this problem in a way. Maybe they would after they got elected, but until they got elected, that's something they could never, ever mention. I hope that it gets mentioned on the Democratic side. Again, people are going to vote their pocketbooks, so the people who are going to be voting the most are going to be the middle class. The middle class has to be assured that whoever is running on the Democratic side, that they're in it for them. But obviously we need to extend that down to those who really, really need it, to try and find a way to bring opportunity to different areas of the country, and to also to be able to provide upward mobility for everyone in the country, something that has been lacking for about the last 10 years. These types of issues, are getting drowned out. They have just a quick thing about how no one's talking about Ebola anymore. Of course, Obama needs some more money for it to help eradicate it more in Europe. But, when something gets the nation's attention, especially from a negative perspective, it seems to just stick there, and then it just dies dead, and you never hear from it again. And we wasted a lot of time in terms of moving on because of things like this, and we really, really need to change that narrative. Perhaps the president can get more forceful, can be more on the offensive for the next 2 years as the election is approaching, so that the Republicans will be on the defensive as opposed to the Democrats being on the defensive. Let's hope that that's going to happen very soon, or is in the process of happening now.